Is good, defenders, and welcome to episode 270 of the LAFC podcast, heard in over 100 countries worldwide. That's right. This is Defenders of the Bank, and you know my voice. It's your friendly neighborhood scarf, J.R. Liebert. I love you all and glad to be back with everybody here in front of the semi-famous scarf wall in Lawndale, California. And he's trying to stay awake along with me here well past 1:30 in the morning. That's right. That is the purveyor of peroxide, the grand poobah of peroxide, the personage of peroxide himself, one Christian Philly Philemon.
Hello, Los Angeles. Hello, fans of Major League Soccer. Hello, lovers of the beautiful game. And, of course, hello to the millions of Defenders of the Bank listeners. This is episode 270, the League's Cup exit show. And in true Defenders of the Bank fashion, 1:39 a.m., Saturday morning, August the 12th. Yeesh. Scarf, I'm going to be mildly petty on today's podcast. For those of you who've been watching these past couple of episodes, you know that I'm running really closely to being 100 days sober. And what has helped me in terms of quenching my desires and my thirst is Topo Chico. I've gone on record 100 times saying how much I love Topo Chico. In fact, I've even shown videos of how many Topo Chicos I maintain in my fridge. Today, I'm just going to be drinking tap water out of this Joker-themed colored thermos.
Yeah,
and the reason for that, defenders, is because Topo Chico comes from Monterrey. And I have a sour taste in my mouth as a result of our loss at the Rose Bowl today against Monterrey. We don't succeed against teams from Monterrey, especially when teams that we even go up against. 2020, it was Tigres. They're from Monterrey. We went up and lost. This time around, in the League's Cup quarterfinals, we went up 2-0 against Monterrey, and we lost. Sour taste in my mouth, hence the no Topo Chico for the night.
Philly, I don't even want to watch Chippendale's Rescue Rangers for Monterey Jack right now. That's how upset I am at the whole thing.
I don't even want that kind of cheese on my sandwich right now.
Yeah, no, this is frustrating. This was one that I think we're going to look back on. And look, when you get to this point in the tournament, you might as well win the whole damn thing. When you're at that point, while we were playing, that was the fourth and fifth teams left in the tournament. So you have a chance, actually two chances technically, to lock up that spot in the CONCACAF Champions Cup tournament. Obviously, the winner of the third and fourth place game goes, and also both teams that play in the final. We were one game away from being one game away. And again, just a disappointing effort in the second half by LAFC. We will talk about that. But before we do, let's pay some bills. I want to remind everybody that even at 1:40 something in the morning, we are part of the Flex family and so happy to be a part of it. Head on over to flexpowertools.com for all your power tools needs. And I feel like a broken record saying this. Every single power tool that you purchase between now and the end of the year comes with a full lifetime warranty on everything but the box that the tool came in. So if you need a drill or you need something else for your Flex Power Tools lineup, go to flexpowertools.com. And if you buy it this year, you have it for life. How cool is that? You get it registered with Flex. They'll take care of you. If something breaks, if something happens, Flex will take care of you. But the tools are great, so they're probably not going to break. But either way, flexpowertools.com for all your Flex Power Tools needs. And Philly, not only does Flex provide the Power Tools love, but they also have one more player appearance on the year, and it's going to be down in my neck of the woods in Hawthorne.
Yeah, it's always in your neck of the woods. I'd love it for it to be in my neck of the woods. There's a Lowe's in Burbank. Come on, Flex. Make my life easy. But for those of you on that side of town, it'll be a fun one. As Scarf alluded to, it is the final Flex player appearance of the season, and it's going to take place on Thursday, August the 17th from 4 to 5 p.m. Player that will be in attendance will be John McCarthy, last season's MLS Cup Finals MVP and our starting goalkeeper. Stick around for that entire event. There's going to be a lot of goodies on hand. Several things are going to look to get raffled at the end of the session. And again, final player appearance. I don't know if it's the final player appearance period for LAFC, but certainly the final player appearance from Flex and from Defenders of the Bank. So we hope to see you Thursday, August the 17th from 4 to 5. And just really quickly, one more thing going on that day at BMO from 6 to 8. So you can do two events in one. There's going to be a lunch bag event. The team's partnering up with #lunchbag and Postmates, and volunteers are going to be making sandwiches, and it's going to benefit LA residents impacted by food insecurity and homelessness. So make sure you take a look at the bio and LAFC's Instagram for the links and more information. So you could crank out two LAFC events in that day, get to hang out with J-Mac, and get to make some sandwiches for charity. Sounds like a pretty good way to spend your August 17th, because we're not going to be hanging out when on a day we should have, August the 15th, when we should have been in a Leagues Cup final had we not blown today's match. But I'm not bitter about it. That's neither here nor say. I'm not, bitter, and says I'm drinking water and not Topo Chico.
Yeah, I want to remind everybody, too, these #lunchbag events. I mean, John Thorrington has come out to one. Kellen Acosta has come out to one. I think Ryan Hollingshead has come out to one. These are really cool events at the stadium. Anytime you get to hang out at BMO, especially when you get to help out in a good cause like this, head on over on the 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. These #lunchbag events are great. You can go to LAFC's website and register, or I'm pretty sure they'll just take you if you show up. So August 17th, 4 o'clock in Hawthorne at Lowe's to go see John McCarthy, and 6 o'clock to fill up some lunch bags and make food for good people. I want to remind everybody, too, and this is really, really good news, that the Mauricio Facio Futsal Court fundraising effort is back underway after a slight hiccup there. Anna has taken care of everything. So head on over to LAFC.com/Mo-Facio to donate whatever it is that you can. And I'm going to say, this is going to be fun. I don't know. Let's say, you know what? I'm going to say 77. 77 is my number for today. And that would be because of something that I'll talk about in a little bit in our news and notes segment. So make sure you listen, find the connection between why I think you should go to LAFC.com/Mo-Facio and donate $77 today to the Mo Facio Futsal Court Fund. See if you can pick up on what I'm throwing down in just a little bit. It's not hard. But Philly, what you got?
I mean, does this have anything to do with the fact that our starting goalkeeper, that's his number, and there's going to be a flex player appearance with him?
No, but I like that tie-in as well. But something.
Okay, I just thought if anything, absolutely. I would negate that from the millions
and millions
mindset as they make the attempt at answering your question.
Yeah.
So if you're going to hit me with 77, the way it goes is I have to obviously raise that. So since I was under the impression that you were utilizing the kit number of one of our players, I'll go with number 99, and I'll make it really easy because of Denny Bwanga and because of the fact that he scored a goal, and we'll keep it at that. A PK goal, but still a very powerful PK. So 99 problems, but unfortunately, Bwanga wasn't completely one for Monterrey. I mean, he was, but I mean, he absolutely was. Ask Medina. He absolutely tore him up, but we lost, so no longer a problem.
Yeah, we'll get into that in just a little bit. We want to do the usual suspects this day in LAFC history, a very quick news and notes segment. We will take a quick look at Angel City FC and LAFC 2, and then we'll head into the breakdown of the second half breakdown against Monterrey. A reminder, if you're not already, please follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at Defenders of the Bank. If you're young out there, we'll explain to you what Facebook is later. And if you're on X, we are at Defend the Bank. So please give us a follow, like us. We try. We try really hard for you. At least, especially at 1:45 in the morning. This day in LAFC history, the match occurred on August 11th. So let's take a look back in the annals of time for this day in LAFC history. August 11, 2018, our maiden season in Major League Soccer. It was our first loss at home at the Bank back then in Major League Soccer. We lost 2-0 to Sporting Kansas City. LAFC was previously undefeated in 14 matches across all competitions at the friendly confines of Bank of California Stadium. And the reason why we lost, well, I don't want to pick on a guy, but it was the only start of the season for Luis Buba Lopez in goal. He played a full 90, and Christian Ramirez made his LAFC debut, subbing on in the 85th minute. Just about a week prior, he scored 2 goals against us, and now he was suiting up for us. The very next year, we played again on that date, August 11, 2019, but it wasn't a loss this time. This time we beat Philly's favorite New Jersey Energy Drinks 4-2 at the Bank. We had a really cool till death tifo in the North End before the match. Your goal scorers were Jordan Harvey in the 23rd minute. Jordan Harvey in the 23rd minute. Latif Blessing, a PK by one Carlitos Vela to go along with 2 assists, and the first MLS goal for Eddie Segura in the 72nd minute. And that goal and 2 assists by Carlos Vela tied Sebastian Giovinco for the most combined goals and assists in one MLS season at 38. He would go on to have 11 more, 49 total on the year. Also on the 11th, I would tread lightly around him tonight, today, tomorrow, but it is the birthday of one Team Security Paul Apodaca. Philly, if you wouldn't mind hitting the applause button there for the birthday of Team Security Paul. There you go. I'm not sure, Philly, that there are any more beloved members of the Black and Gold than Team Security Paul. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know. Maybe Ollie.
Ollie had an interesting experience at the Rose Bowl a couple of days ago.
Yeah, yeesh. We'll have to talk about that before we do the pregame. But Team Security Paul, we love you.
Absolutely.
And look, most of you are going to be listening to this today as we're recording it, August 12th. That would be Tristan Blackman's birthday. So happy birthday to Tristan Blackman. But also August 12th, 2019 is when we acquired Cheeky Palacios from SD Alcas of Ecuador's top flight using targeted allocation money. August 12th, 2019. And boy, Philly, did we miss him tonight.
We certainly did miss him tonight. That statistic that you went back to, our first loss at Bank of California Stadium against Sporting Kansas City, I'm a little disappointed. You missed something. One of the goal scorers in that game.
Yeah, you're right.
Happened to be Ilie Sanchez when he was a member of Sporting Kansas City. So we next time, and Ilie at this point has become a very beloved member of the Black and Gold, and honestly, one of our most important people, period, as far as the starting lineup goes. But for anybody wanting to chat with him, remind him a little bit. It's like, Ilie, I love you, but I hated you season 1 when we lost to Sporting Kansas City. Look, he remembers it. I think I was busting his chops about this sometime last year at another Lowe's event.
No, I remember that. That was fun. Look, he is absolutely integral. What we saw him do against us, now we get to have him do for us. I wished it worked that way with like Christian Ramirez. He killed us and just didn't do a whole lot for us. Philly news and notes, just one bit of news, and it involves Jose Cifuentes debuting for Scottish Premiership club Rangers, one of the 2 huge, massive, big clubs in the Scottish Premiership. He came on, Philly, in the 77th minute for his new club, thus me throwing out 77 as what I think we should donate. 77th minute for his new club Rangers in a Champions League qualification match versus Servette of Switzerland. And in his 13-plus minutes, Sifu had 29 touches, but completed just 68% of his passes. And in case you get the Rangers package on your ESPN Plus or wherever it is that you watch your football, their next match is today. What time is it right now, Philly? 1:52
a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Their next match is in just 5 hours and 8 minutes, 7 o'clock in the morning versus Livingston in a Scottish Premiership match. So, hey, maybe you're waking up early. You're on your way somewhere. Maybe you can, after you're done listening to us, watch Sifu's match, or maybe you're probably going to miss it because you're all asleep.
Paramount Plus has the Scottish Premier League. So if you wanted to watch Sifu, if you wanted to watch Celtic, if you wanted to watch Hearts or Aberdeen, You can watch those matches on Paramount Plus. I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to seeing how Sifu does in the Scottish Premier League. In particular, I can't wait for those old firm derbies between Rangers and Celtic. There's so many unbelievably successful clubs in Europe in terms of trophies. I mean, Bayern Munich just won their 33rd Bundesliga title along with their 11th consecutive one. But that pales in comparison to what Rangers have. Rangers have 55 domestic trophies. It's insane. One of the most successful teams historically out there. It's some pretty fun stuff.
Yeah.
And Ecuadorians are starting to get a lot of love on that part of the world. Moises Caicedo is at the heart of a lot of interesting. Oh yeah, there's a lot of interesting dialogue between him these days. But yeah, Ecuadorians are starting to run their thing. Well, we wish one of our Ecuadorians was able to play today, but that's neither here nor there. But congrats to Sifu. I'll be paying attention to the Scottish Premier League because it's a little easier to watch that than it would be to watch Diego Rossi when he was at Fenerbahce playing in the Turkish Super League.
Easy to watch him now in Columbus, that's for sure. Our Angel City Minute. June Endo's run with Japan in the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup came to an end on Friday in a 2-1 loss to Sweden in the quarterfinals. She had an excellent run of form in the tournament, scoring a goal and adding 2 assists for Japan in 4 World Cup matches. Angel City's next match is August 19th, a league match on the road against Racing Louisville. As a reminder, Angel City currently sits 10th in the NWSL, but only 4 points back of 6th place San Diego for a playoff spot. 7 matches to go in the season. And speaking of big matches, in just about 10 or 11 hours from the end of this recording, LAFC 2 will play their first ever home derby against Los Gros Galaxy 2. That's August 12th, 1 p.m., Titan Stadium. LAFC 2 taking on Galaxy 2. Be there or be square. It'll be better than the Rose Bowl if you head over to Cal State Fullerton, that's for sure. And Philly, let's rip the Band-Aid off and talk about the second half collapse against Monterrey.
Monterrey is the best team that was in Leagues Cup at the present moment. Still one of the best teams in Leagues Cup. This is one of the best teams from Liga MX. This is a team with a roster of a value of over $80 million. That would be 25 million more than what LAFC has. This is a team that's outstanding, fantastic. And I mean, they've been ripping up teams in MLS on their way here, and they even whooped up on their arch rivals Tigres to get into this match. Now, we knew, and we previewed this last night on the Getting to Know You pod. This is a team that has a lot of talented players from top to bottom, very talented players. So this wasn't going to be an easy match in any which way, shape, or form. And while we played as valiantly as we could, Monterrey certainly showed their talent and quality because they deserved to come back in this game based on the way that we were playing. But we'll talk about that momentarily. Again, good team, and, my hat's off to them. So let's just get into that starting lineup unless you have anything else you want to say.
Yeah, no, I just want to remind everybody, this is a club that 2011, 12, 13, 19, and 21 all won CONCACAF Champions League. Not made CONCACAF Champions League, won CONCACAF Champions League. 11, 12, 13, 19, and 21. So this year's iteration of Monterrey, while having a lot to play for in this league's cup, has also a lot that they have been building on over the last 10, 12 years or so. And I've said it, as much money as Club America puts into their club, I think Monterrey in the last decade or so, you could argue that they have been the class of Liga MX as much as any other club. They do, however, have a brand new head man, and that would be Fernando Ortiz, managing his 8th match for Monterrey against LAFC. Former, by the way, head man of Club America, and an excellent playing career as well. And we're getting into the lineups, right, Philly? We're ready to roll?
Yeah, ready to roll. I mean, just they one other interesting stat about them that we didn't even mention on the show the other night is they're only the second Mexican club to actually win the Continental Treble, which is also a very impressive feat. I mean, to win one trophy by itself is awesome. but to win a treble is outstanding. And you mentioned their titles, and if you look at the logo, I want to reiterate in case you didn't watch the previous episode, there's 5 stars on the top of the crest, 5 on the bottom. The 5 stars represent the domestic titles. On the bottom, they represent the Continental. And in the turn of the 2020s, they won that Continental treble by winning Liga MX, by winning the Copa MX, and also the CONCACAF Champions League. So a team that a lot of their success has come recently, and there's a whole bunch of money that's been poured into this team. They've got a gorgeous stadium in Estadio BBVA that was constructed in 2015. I mean, this is a team that this is one of the top, without a doubt, one of the top teams in Liga MX.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, you could argue top team in CONCACAF right now, all the way up, top to bottom.
Well, Leon might have something to say about that.
Yeah, I hear you. That's why I said you can argue it. They come out in a 4-2-3-1, but they would be missing Germán Berterame, their leading scorer with 5 goals in the tournament, a broken foot against Portland. And, oh, by the way, he still played the full 90, even though he broke his foot in the match. No Germán Berterame. So where would the goals come from? Well, one of them from us. Let's get into the starting lineup, beginning with their goalkeeper, Esteban Andrada. He's a very, very good keeper, played very well. 32-year-old Argentine, formerly of Boca Juniors and Lanús. 36 clean sheets in 80 matches for Rayados, now 81. Defender Jesus Gallardo, Hector Moreno, who is, I mean, an absolute legend when it comes to L3 and Liga MX. He has played everywhere. 35-year-old center back, but we're talking about playing in the Club World Cup, Champions League, Europa League, Copa Libertadores, La Liga, Serie A, the Eredivisie, obviously Liga MX. The dude won the Under-17 World Cup with L3 and 2 gold cups with Mexico as part of his over 130 caps for L3. Hector Moreno, an absolute legend. Defender Stefan Medina and Eric Aguirre round out the back line. Midfielders Jonathan Gonzalez and Omar Govea. Joao Rojas, the middleman in the forward rotation there, would be one Sergio Canales, and he is their big money attacking midfielder from Spain. Look, he just came over. He has been there for less than a shot of tequila, and let me tell you, he is making waves. He is as good as it gets. A teammate of Carlos Vela's from 2013 to 2018 with Real Sociedad. This will be his 3rd match with Monterrey. Like I said, he also had a handful of caps with Real Madrid, but he really cut his teeth with
2 handfuls, literally like 10 games.
Yeah, right. He cut his teeth with Sociedad and Real Betis, but he is one of the mercurial talents. I think at the age of, what did we say, 32, Philly? He is coming over.
Just 32, yes.
Yeah, he's coming over to put the landing gear down and possibly finish out the bulk of his meaningful playing career with Monterrey in Liga MX. Rounding out the lineup, midfielder Maximiliano Mesa. He's been with Rayado since 2018. He's also played with Messi on the Argentine national team, so you know he's doing something right. And their forward, Rogelio Funes Mori, who we kept in check for most of the match, the 6th most capped player in Rayados history, 150, now 4 goals in all competitions, by far the most of any player in Rayados history. He scores for El-Tri too, 6 goals and 17 caps, used to play for River Plate. And then there. 3 players that you want to know in the 18, because those are the only 3 that Fernando Ortiz subbed in. Jordi Cortizo, Ali Avila, who changed things literally the first second he came into the match, and Victor Guzman. That's the 18 for Monterrey. Philly, a questionable head-scratching decision maybe by Steve Cherundolo as part of the starting 11 and 18 for LAFC?
We knew that Carlos would not be featuring in this match, so that obviously puts us at a disadvantage. But we knew that. We were ready for that. We were prepared. And honestly, Nathan Ordaz dazzled in the last match for LAFC against Real Salt Lake. So being accustomed to not having Carlos Vela, it happens. What we're not accustomed to, and you could argue it hurt us, especially in the second half, no Chiqui Palacios. And it's not because he hurt himself, not because he hurt himself at all. It's because he just wasn't feeling well. He was sick. I don't know what that means. So that's the reason why we didn't see Cheeky Palacios. So those are two very important pieces to our puzzle that weren't on the board. As far as our starters are concerned, it's been John McCarthy all season long, so no surprise that he's there. Sergi Palencia gets the start instead of Cheeky Palacios. Aaron Long, Giorgio Chiellini, and Ryan Hollingshead. No surprise from those three. The midfield, Kellen Acosta, Ilya Sanchez, and Mati Bogusz. Mati Bogusz has proven to be a stellar stud piece in that midfield. Stipe Buke, Denny Bawanga, and El Pistolero himself, his P1 visa got issued, so he's good to go. Mario Gonzalez starting. And when Steve was asked about this, he said that they have high hopes for him, this team. He's a goal scorer. They want him to see him score goals, and they wanted to integrate him into the lineup as quickly as possible. And this is pretty darn quick because they just issued his visa. Boom. Here you go, son. Step on into the game. As far as our subs are concerned, Jesus David Murillo would make an appearance. Mamadou Fall, Timothy Tillman would. It's always nice seeing Maxime Crepeau in that 18. Haven't seen much of that. Nathan Ordaz, he would come into the game. And then Fufu Krastev. Those are your LAFC players that came in. The ones that were there but did not play at all, Daniel Maldonado, Daniel Crisostomo, Eric Dueñas, Christian Torres, Abraham Romero, and if I'm missing anybody, I apologize. I don't think I am.
Yeah, what happened to our boy, Philly?
Which boy? We've got a lot of boys. Who are you talking about?
No, what happened to Eldon? Where's Eldon at these days?
Well, Eldon's sitting pretty and chilling. Who knows? Maybe we'll see him for LAFC 2 against Galaxy tomorrow.
I mean,
maybe Maxime gets the start. I don't know. Eldon at this point is in the position that I guess that LAFC brought him in because John McCarthy was starting without a doubt. There was no question there. Eldon, fine career. And so he's been backing up J-Mac all season long. But now they're starting to work Maxime Crepeau, who was the fully intended upon number one starting keeper. But as we know, he broke his leg, gave up his leg, gave up his body for LAFC in the MLS Cup final. And that's the story there. I mean, I still see Eldon
Abraham Romero now being called up as the third keeper. Interesting. By the way, I want to reiterate
plans for him, I guess.
I want to reiterate to everybody, Maxime Crepeau still has his leg. He didn't quite give up his leg for us. He has both legs attached.
Not literally, figuratively.
I'm just making sure that everybody's on the same page. Philly, let's chat real quick. I think I want to bring this up before we go through the entire match rather than after we go through the entire match, because I think if people are coming away with one point of contention with anything that happened in this match, it's number one, where the heck was Cheeky Palacios? We talked about it. He wasn't feeling well. I don't know what that means, but that's why he wasn't in the 18. That was a shock to all of us, except for Seth, who we asked about, hey, what's going on with Cheeky? He said he's not feeling well. Okay, cool. Got it. We heard it straight from PR's mouth. The question I have, Philly, is should we have started the Pistolero up top? Look, here's my, I'm going to give you a couple reasons why I think we should have started him. I'm going to give you a couple reasons why I think we shouldn't have. Right? Let me know your thoughts after this. Why we should have started him. If I remember correctly, Philly, he's 28 years old, right? Very experienced, 28-year-old, and a player who has played against the likes of clubs like Monterrey. I mean, he is very, very, very experienced. So he's not going to shy away from a very physical club like Monterrey wound up being. And I also think that you look at who could potentially come in at being Nathan Ordaz. What we have seen from Nathan on occasion is that he gets gassed towards the end of the match, and maybe you get more by bringing in Nathan's speed at the end of a match than you do at the beginning, and you have to worry about the physicality of the game affecting a young kid like Nathan more than you have to worry about it affecting Mario Gonzalez. However, you mentioned it, Philly. Nathan Ordaz, he's earned his nickname of Nate the Great recently. Like, he has been very, very effective for us. And one could argue, Philly, that in a couple of plays that we will talk about in this match, that it was Mario Gonzalez who may have cost us a couple of opportunities. Dude is brand new. You mentioned it. I don't think the ink was even dry on his visa paperwork when he took the pitch at the Rose Bowl tonight. So it's hard, right? Because with no Carlos Vela, now we're down to our third or fourth or fifth striker that we want up top. But I'm going to just throw it out there that maybe it might have been too soon to swim that deeply in the pool for one Mario Gonzalez.
I don't think so. And the reason why I disagree with that statement is because as talented as Nathan Ordaz is, you said it, the physicality of the game might have been something a little too much for him, because Monterrey is a bigger physical team. And we've seen Nate. Nate hasn't even filled into his body yet. So he would constantly get pressured and pushed off of the ball. El Pistolero, we brought in to score goals. Like, this is a guy that should be starting for us as often as possible. And so you want to integrate him as quickly as possible, trial by fire. The fact that he's mature and has experience would have led one to believe that he would have been ready to go regardless. You take a talented player, they'll find their way on the pitch and their talents will shine. Obviously, a system will dictate how they play, but I think it was the wise decision to start Mario Gonzalez against a much bigger team. But yeah, you said it. There were some miscommunications that were there, but they brought him in for a reason. And why not get him the experience now and prepare for this run towards MLS Cup? I don't think it's a bad idea at all that he started.
Listen, Defenders Nation, this is the kind of stuff we want to hear from you about as well. So whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, wherever we post all the different links that we do post to this episode, if you hear something like this, whether you agree with me or agree with Philly or disagree with us both or kind of agree with us both a little bit, we want to hear from you. So make sure, send us messages, comment on our posts. Let us know what you think. Was it too early for Mario? Or was it, just the right time? And unfortunately, it was just a little bit more growing pains than we would have liked to have seen. Either way, yes, Philly has his hand raised.
Another point I wanted to make, it occurred to me. I mean, we're still somewhat reconditioning our brains to think of life after Bob. When Bob would bring new players into LAFC, he would do exactly what you just said, wait for them to acclimate to his system. He wouldn't give them the trial by fire right away. Steve's a different gaffer, different mentality, different mindset. Obviously, the idea is go, 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 score as many goals as you can. But that's another thing that we were just accustomed to seeing a player have to work their way into the lineup. I mean, Christian Teo didn't even get the start up top as quickly as Mario Gonzalez did. But who else were we going to use? And I just don't think Nathan Ordaz would have been a perfect option with a tough physical team like Monterrey.
Yeah, and you and I had talked about it a little bit. I kind of feel bad saying this on the pod, but I did say it to you. You're not going to use Christian Torres in that situation just yet either way. Although Christian Torres has proven he can score goals for LAFC. He's done it, but so has Nate. So either way, you know who else has proven, Philly, in our smooth segues from Defenders of the Bank, that they can score goals for LAFC? That would be your player to watch, my friend. Number 99, shooting fish in a barrel, Denis Bouanga. I don't know, 20 seconds into the match, Philly, he gets taken down in the penalty box. And of course it's time for a PK in the penalty box. Did I say in the penalty box? I did say in the penalty box. That's the wrong sport. Taken down inside the 18 was Denis Bouanga. And in the 1 minute and 27 seconds, he lines up for the PK. Keeper guesses wrong. Bing bong. We are up 1-0 after 1 minute and 27 seconds. And Philly, the route is on in the first half. And I got to say, it didn't open up the game as much as I thought it might with LAFC scoring that early, but an absolutely massive effort and a goal that puts Denis Bouanga at 6 goals in this league's cup.
It was a great way to start because in our past, 18, 19 games, anytime that LAFC has scored first, they've gone on to win. So would history repeat itself? But, I mean, spoiler alert, no. But, yeah, 17 seconds in, like you said, Hollingshead right to Denis. And we got to thank Medina. Medina was the one who was the culprit for fouling Bouanga. And in the minute 26, that time frame when he did it, that made Denis Bouanga that was the fourth fastest goal scored in LAFC history. So you got to think we're up and roaring and off to bigger and better things. And the fun thing is when you go back to watch that replay, once Denis put it past Andrada, he went running and he just kind of gave him that look like, yeah, that's what's up. Like he likes to do. I don't know if there were any words exchanged, but I distinctly remember watching the highlights and seeing Denis kind of mean mug Andrada as he was running to celebrate. But yes, that was the fourth fastest goal in LAFC history. Congratulations, Denis.
Yeah, pretty cool that we were able to get on the front foot as quickly as we did. Just in case you were curious, Chicho Arango, 20 seconds in on September 12th, 2021. Chicho scoring after 20 seconds. Bogusz this season, remember that, 54 seconds in to the match on June 21st. And Edward Atuesta scoring in 1 minute and 25 seconds back in 2021. By the way, the fourth fastest goal before this, Philly, was one Dejan Jakovic
against Vancouver.
Yeah,
that's BMO during COVID,
right?
I remember that game. We were there. Oh, yeah, he was on the training staff.
he retired not too long after that. Yeah, that's when we had a conversation with team security Paul while we were sitting up in Sunset Club, and Paul was down on the field and he heard us perfectly. We were talking as loud as we are right now. In the 8th minute, a questionable early yellow card on Kellen Acosta. He arrived late to the tackle for sure. But man, 8 minutes in, his first foul, and we're already passing out the yellow cards. Philly, that was way early for a yellow card, no?
Way early, and I don't know. I kind of disagreed with the yellow card. There's a lot of things that I was going to disagree with, and a lot of things that Steve was very vehemently disagreeing with as far as the refs were concerned, but not a great way to start things off. Obviously, that's going to prevent him from playing even as more. I can't speak. It's 2 in the morning. What can I say? It's just going to prevent him from playing more aggressive. And that's a problem because that midfield that Monterrey has, and that's the same midfield. They've kept that for the most part intact all Leagues Cup long. So to not have Kellen in a position where he can play as aggressively, now he's got to be somewhat tentative about how he goes in to slide tackle. That kind of sucks. That already puts us at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I thought the first 10 minutes or so, maybe 10, 12 minutes, LAFC did a wonderful job, though, to control the pace. Denis looking to hook up with Super Mario in the 9th minute. There's a cross that it missed him pretty well high and over, but at least Denis and Mario looking for each other, making the same right runs. So a little bit of unfortunate circumstance there. And in the 11th, Mati Bogusz to Mario, and he tried that little chip. He tried to chip the keeper, and a little too much mustard on that. He puts it into the stands rather than chipping it into the back of the net.
The shot was a bit too ambitious is what you were trying to say.
Yeah, but you know what? I like the aggression early on, right? When he wasn't really thinking about formations or making the right runs. He was just playing football, kind of opened things up early. For me, though, honestly, after the 11th minute, that's where everything dropped off for Mario. I don't know how you feel, Philly, but I didn't, after the 11th minute, I just didn't see enough from Mario. Even if you're going to tell me, oh, he didn't have much time, barely trained, this and that. All right, but this is the quarterfinals of an event a tournament that can get you into the CONCACAF Champions Cup pretty easily if you get past this match, in my opinion. So I just think that after the 11th, maybe Steve should have seen the writing on the wall a little bit earlier.
No, I disagree because Mario did get himself inserted into the match. And there's plenty of other highlights that I've got notes on to indicate that. But, I mean, let's move forward. We see another yellow card in the 24th minute. I mean, unless you had something else. Like, this is a loss. This is a loss. And honestly, like, I don't know how you feel about it or how any of the millions will, but I don't feel the need to go through every single highlight, especially when we're talking about a negative thing. That's just my thought. I don't know what you think about that, but 24th minute. Okay, 24th minute descent yellow on Meza. There's plenty of reasons to give yellow cards out for dissent there, but What I was kind of disgusted with actually prior to that was when Gallardo was in the box wanting a foul. He played this little whiny ball, let's call it that way. There was no way there was a foul on Palencia on that. He wasn't even making a play on Gallardo. He was running forward with Gallardo behind him, and he somehow wanted the official to blow his whistle. The game kept going, and I applaud LAFC for not stopping the action. They kept going, and it just, coincidentally, as Monterrey regained possession, Gallardo got right back up. I hate that crap. I hate it so vehemently. It drives me nuts. Anyway, so I just wanted to get that one off my chest.
Yeah,
but Rayado's creating opportunities, Scarf in the 30s.
Look, way too much space for Sergio Canales at the top of the box, but luckily he put it way over the bar. In the 31st, you got Medina picking up an early yellow as well. So we're 31 minutes in, 2 players already for Rayados on a yellow, and of course Kellen for LAFC. And I mean, the pressure that Rayados kept on, and Philly, correct me if I'm wrong, the final stat of possession in this match was in the 60th percent. What was it, 68?
Oh, dude, when we go over those stats, just the amount of passes that they converted compared to LAFC, I mean, there should be no surprise that they came back and won, but there's still plenty of scenarios to talk about prior to having to talk about the conclusion.
No, for sure, but man, the possession, I'm just thinking from the, I don't know, 30th minute to like the 38th minute, we were playing in our half defensively for most of those 6, 7, 8 minutes. Emergency defending by LAFC on a cross in the 33rd minute. And they have to do it again on Meza in the box just seconds later. LAFC really needed to slow the game down a little bit. Couldn't find a way to do it. And in the 36th minute, after a good bit of pressure from Monterrey led to a corner, Canales really overcooked that one. And Mati took it the other way for a counter. And someone's going to have to explain to me. Someone is going to have to explain to me how in the 38th minute, what Andrada did is not a penalty kick for Denis Bouanga, played right through the man in order to get to that ball. I get he's a keeper and he's entitled to his space, but if you go up straight and he goes up straight, you're both entitled to the same airspace. And I was just really confused, Philly, how that's not a PK in the 38th minute.
I mean, he got smashed, and you're not the only one that was confused because Steve was pretty pissed off and confused as well. How was that an obvious foul, and yet nothing happens? Nothing at all. And there was no play on the ball. It's as if Andrada just smashed Denny in the head. That was one of those very frustrating calls, and one of the scenarios in which if the ref did his effing job, we would have been in a position to get ourselves another one. It's all about moments and mentality. And obviously we were up 1-0. That's not a lead to feel comfortable about. Having a second goal within the 37th minute would have been great. But yes, I don't understand how that wasn't a foul at all. But, needless to say, we move on. You talked about possession earlier on, and I was jotting down the note as we were approaching the 42nd minute. At this point, Monterrey dominated with 68% possession. LAFC at this point playing, hoping that Monterrey would make a mistake and catch him on the counter. And catch him on the counter, they did, Scarf. 43rd minute, Denis gets a pass off to Mate. He rushes past the midfield, hits Denis on the left. And then he gets the ball back to Mate in the box, and he has just a beautiful shot straight past Andrada, and holy shnikes. 2-0 in the Rose Bowl. This is awesome. This is Mate's third goal across all competitions for LAFC, and it could not have come at a better time. What a beautiful counter. What a beautiful ball, and that's the kind of stuff that we need to see out of Mate. Thought he was out of place when he was operating as a forward, but the minute he shifted to that midfield, he's starting to play better, and he gets rewarded for his efforts. That was a gorgeous goal.
I think we're seeing a budding star in Mate Bogusz for sure. Katya, who was in the press box with us, turned and we were talking about the goal, and she goes, "No, that was just a golazo. It's an absolutely beautiful ball. And if you watch it, it tails away from the keeper going into top bins, upper 90 in the right side of the goal." Look, on the day that they retire Fernando Valenzuela's jersey at Dodger Stadium, he was known to get a lot of movement on his pitches. Fernando would have been proud if he could have seen the knuckling action. It was almost like the knuckle puck in Mighty Ducks there. That was just
we reference that movie an awful lot, by the way.
We do. It's just
You'd swear we were from Anaheim.
Beautiful shot. If you guys have a chance to take a look at that golazo by Monty Bogusz, he is pretty good. And J-Mac woken up in the 44th minute. I'll say this. For as much as LAFC had to do a lot of emergency defending, bless you, and as much as LAFC had to constantly play on their back heels a little bit, clear the rubbish from their own box, J-Mac didn't have to do a ton in the first half. He really didn't. He had to be on his toes for sure. But in the 44th minute, not a lot of, as Philly would say, mustard on the hot dog there on that shot. But after a couple of nice 1-2 passes back and forth with each other, Monterrey couldn't do much in the 44th minute except give an easy save for one John McCarthy.
You're right. And we get 3 minutes of stoppage. And what I'm about to talk about, in my humble opinion, is something that I even mentioned to you.
You said it as soon as it happened. I want to let everybody know out there what Philly's about to talk about. He turned to me and he said, I'll let you say what you're going to say, but he said it right as it happened. And I don't know if other people heard it, but I wouldn't lie about this. I love Philly, but I'm still not going to lie about this for him. But this is what you said. What'd you say?
I mean, I just said, I hope this doesn't come back to bite us in the rear. And again, this is just my humble opinion. I mean, the play that develops, Hollingshead passes it off to Denny on the left. And then here's a scenario where LAFC got in their own way, preventing their own opportunity
literally
from happening. Yeah. Gonzalez he's all right. So let's put it this way. So Denny's got the ball, right? He looks to cross and he connect with Mario. No, with Stipe. Denny was looking to connect with Stipe, but Mario was there. I mean, there was two LAFC players wide open with zero defenders on them. And I don't know. I'm pretty sure that ball was intended for Stipe. Mario gets in the way, and then Buke hits it. It comes off of Gonzalez. Buke gets it back, but gets tripped up. Hollingshead gets an opportunity, but that gets blocked. And then Mario, you mentioned that he kind of disappeared. He showed up here because he did have a shot that came off of the right side of the post. So that was an ample opportunity in which LAFC could have converted. If Mario not getting in the way of Stipe, I am convinced with the amount of space that he had and the look he could have had, yes, Andrada could have made the save. But if Stipe scores that goal, that puts us up 3-0. And there's a reason why this is a key moment, because your mindset for both teams going back into the locker room, different. LAFC already with a lead, despite not controlling possession, would go in with their heads held up high, walking around like they got the biggest whatever period on the pitch. Whereas Monterrey, already being fatigued from traveling, clearly frustrated about the logistics of the League's Cup. I mean, their president, Jose Antonio Tato Noriega, had some words to say about that stuff. It would have been an easy call for them to go, for Fernando Ortiz to go, hey, bus driver, make sure you keep this engine warm. But leaving the door open at 2-0, that's one of the most dangerous score lines to have, especially when they get to go in the locker room and regroup. 2-0 would have been a psychologically easier deficit to come back from. But if they score in that frame right there and they go up 3-0, and one could argue that if Denny would have gotten the call 4-0, this game would have been over. Absolutely over, but the door got kept open, and I think it's just because we got in our own way. And that just ties back into what you were talking about Mario not having ample time to integrate himself into the lineup. That was one of those examples because he couldn't read his teammates very well. He should have stayed away from Stipe, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, look, there's a term in boxing called a flash knockdown. LAFC gave Monterrey 2 flash knockdowns in the first half with those 2 goals. But they never really injured the boxer that was Monterrey. That third goal, or maybe even, like you said, what should have been the fourth potential goal, with Denis not getting awarded a PK for being assaulted by a man. I really do believe, Philly, that you're 100% correct when you say that, because that would have been more of an injury to the boxer. That would have been a punch that they would have felt for the entire duration of the fight. And I think first of all, not only does Mario get in the way of the first attempt, but if he's maybe even able to bury the second attempt, then it's fine, right? Then you're like, oh, that's cute. They ran into each other, but don't worry, Mario.
Yeah.
Mario finished it. Everything is good. But he couldn't do that, and that brings us pretty much to halftime.
El Pistolero shot like a stormtrooper, completely off the mark on that shot.
Pew, 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 pew. But we do go into the half up 2-0. Look, if you're telling me we're going into the second half up 2-0, I'll take it every single time. There are 0 times that I would ever not take a 2-0 lead at the half.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. And as I mentioned earlier, I mean, we don't lose games when we're winning. And when we score, not when we're winning, when we score first.
Hold on. We don't lose games when we're winning. I like it.
We don't lose games when we have more goals than the other team. It's 228. The caffeine's gone. What do you want from me? The stats. Both teams had 6 shots, but LAFC had 2 more on target, if you can believe that, 3-1. But here's where the story's a little bit different. Possession, a whopping 71% to LAFC's 29. So LAFC was very efficient with what they did with the time they had the ball. Problem is, they didn't pass the ball as well as Monterrey did, because we're talking about 85% to 74% passing accuracy. Not too many opportunities for either club to do anything off set pieces. And we see 3 yellow cards, 2 on Monterrey, 1 on Kellen Acosta, no reds. And here we are. Hello, second half.
Yeah, and here comes Monterrey right out the gate with Maxi Mesa in the first minute of the second half, trying to get one back. Híjole madre, it was almost 2-1 just as quickly as we scored in the first half. They almost got one back, Philly, right as we begin the second half.
I mean, J-Mac, like fumbled it. I mean, he almost gave up a bunny. That was a close call. But, I mean, Fernando Ortiz certainly had something to say to his club in the locker room, because, I mean, they came out firing. He said, hey, look, possession's not going to be the only thing that you're going to maintain and take control of this game and the lead. And, hey, man, they started turning things around because they were hot right out of the gates.
Yeah, and look, we saw a very sloppy counter in the 48th minute. Beautiful 3-on-2 break, but the pass that would have sprung Monterrey on the attack, unfortunately, was way off, trickles out of bounds. LAFC gets it back. And even in the 49th minute, you had John McCarthy snagging a header. Look, it was ambitious. It was from distance. It wasn't going to do anything other than land in the hands of John McCarthy. But look, I'll say this. What they were doing is the exact same things that the Velociraptors did in the first Jurassic Park. They kept testing the electric fence. They never tested the same place twice. And as soon as that electric fence went down, and it was about to go down in a hurry, those Velociraptors pounced. Denis 1v1 in the 50th minute and in the 51st. I liked that Denis was trying to switch the energy of the match, because, look, you get 71% possession in the first half. You come out on the front foot for the first 5 minutes of the second half, and you really start to wear down the defense of LAFC. They were incredible in the first half, and we saw team defending. I mean, it wasn't just Giorgio. It wasn't just Aaron Long. It was forwards. It was midfield players. It was everybody that needed to defend for LAFC did in the first half. But you know what? Over the course of 90 minutes, with the frenetic style that LAFC wants to play and everybody pushing forward, not something that we could have sustained. And they came right back out on us, Philly, those first 5, 6, 7 minutes.
They did. But where the damage started occurring is when they started subbing people in. The subs for Monterrey were deadly against us. All 3 subs that came in some which way, shape, or form would sculpt the rest of this game. 53rd, you have Rojas out, Cortizo in. He was one of your players that you had a keen interest in watching. 55th minute, we have a great header by Ryan to Denis, who had space to run. Crossed in, but taken by the keeper. And I mean, Giorgio doing his thing. Now, what's interesting to me, and I got to shout out like a Romanian connection here. Govia, I knew a girl named Govia. That's how she pronounced her name, spelled the exact same way. But this guy's on loan from a team in Romania, FC Voluntari. I don't see that very often. A Mexican player going to Romania, playing in their first division, and then getting loaned back out to Liga MX. Newsflash, I would never want to play in Romania. I would take Liga MX 11 out of 10 times. So I find it wild that this guy is in that position. So kind of crazy. I had to throw that in there.
Yeah, I mean, you're still waiting for another one besides Alexander Matritsu, right? Like,
well, there's a kid on Columbus who's really good. His name's escaping me right now, but there's a Romanian kid. Like, one of Columbus's better players is Romanian.
Oh, I will have to look into that. I thought.
Well, you take over the game recap, and I'll tell you soon.
Sounds good. Look, 56th minute, another yellow for Monterrey for pulling down one of our boys from behind. And
Alexandru Matan.
Oh, Matan is okay. All right.
He's Romanian.
I knew him. Okay. I knew that one. Philly, who was the guy that had to come off with the wrist injury? It didn't wind up bothering him. Number 5, I'm totally blanking on his name right now. But he had a wrist injury as he goes down.
When he went off to the sideline.
Yeah,
that was him.
Yeah, down on the play. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Govia. In the 56th minute, it looks like he was okay, though, because number 1, you don't use your wrist that much in playing soccer. But number 2, he ran right back out on the pitch. Really liked the defending by Sergei Palencia in the 58th minute. Not so much in the, 79th minute, but really liked his defending in the 58th minute. Sergei Palencia, a great switch by Monterrey. It leads to Sergei kind of on an island there. Played it out for a corner. Monterrey plays the corner to the top of the box, but it was an easy save on a header. But you saw that they were working some things out on these set pieces. And part of the problem is, Philly, when you've got the ball 70% of the time, you're also generating a lot of set pieces. You're generating a lot of defensive effort from LAFC. And you could just see we were getting worn down. And the other thing I didn't like, just before the hour mark, Kellen Acosta caught absolutely flat-footed and got blown by, but John McCarthy was there, and you just have to wonder, 60 minutes in, is playing with the yellow card now for 52 minutes for Kellen Acosta starting to affect the way that he plays on both sides of the ball, both offensively and defensively.
Well, yeah, that's the disadvantage of getting a card so early. I mean, you don't want to cost your team because he comes out of the game with another bad tackle. And we already know that these officials were POSs to begin with and on all these blown calls. So he doesn't want to do that. So, I mean, you're absolutely right. 2 minutes after that play where you said Kellen got blown by and J-Mac makes the save, we got Fufu Krostev into the match for Stipe Buke. Really wish Stipe would have converted at the end of the first half, but that's neither here nor there. And 62nd minute, things start to get a little interesting. Govea gets the ball on over to Meza, who winds up and takes a big shot from outside of the box, and J-Mac with a huge save, getting his hand on it. That was one of the better looks that Monterrey got all match, and J-Mac was on top of things that time.
So this kid, Ali Avila, who comes in the 63rd minute for Jonathan Gonzalez. I want to say I'm right in saying this. They raise the electronic board. Numbers are up there. Gonzalez comes off. Avila comes sprinting into the match. And I think it's even on his initial sprint into the match almost, where he goes into the box to try to get a touch. And just like that, he's not taken down in the box, but it was Kellen Acosta again, by the way. And I was petrified, Philly, petrified upon seeing the replay. Number 1, that it would be a PK, as Kellen Acosta got there late on his foot in the box. Petrified to be a PK. Even more petrified it'd be the second yellow card of the match for one Kellen Acosta. So not only are we giving Monterrey a chance, we almost, and you could argue, because it was a late tackle, that it maybe should have been the second yellow on one Kellen Acosta, but it's literally the first touch of the match for Ali Avila, and he earns a PK. Sorry, kid, you're not taking it as long as Sergio Canales is on there. And look, kudos to J-Mac. He guessed right. He did everything he needed to do in order to save that ball. Sometimes, though, the guy who takes the PK is just better than you in that moment. Put it in an absolutely perfect spot. Nothing that John McCarthy could do. And 68 minutes in, we are now only up 2-1.
The only person that would have been able to make that save would be Mr. Fantastic from the Fantastic Four. He could have stretched out his arms. Yeah, no way J-Mac was making that. And we knew we were in a terrible position when it took like 4 to 5 minutes of VAR to confirm things. But this is going to go into something that Steve complained about during the press conference. It was clear and obvious when Andrada fouled Denis Bouanga. Not very clear and obvious when Kellen Acosta gets in trouble for fouling Avila. So now we got 2 questionable scenarios. But you can't get a guy as clinical as Sergio Canales 12 yards in front of you and expect him not to do anything other than score. He just did a goal. He scored a goal beating Tigres in the previous match, going the same exact direction.
Yeah.
So 2 straight games, 2 straight goals, and out of the 3 goals that we've had in this game, 2 of them have come off of PKs. Now it's 2-1. Oh, poop. Here we go.
Yeah, but I'll say this. For the next 5 to 7 minutes, LAFC regrouped nicely. I really think that LAFC was able to settle the match down a little bit. We're talking from the 70th to the 76th minute. You had Mati pushing one right just wide as he goes right at goal. And, I mean, the save in the 75th minute, Philly, you're talking about Andrada keeping his club in this match. Several different chances in the 75th and 76th minute. It wasn't even Andrada who made the save in the 76th minute on Denis. But what I'm seeing here in the 75th, 76th, plenty of reasons that LAFC should have been up. Again, we already think they should be up 3-1 or 4-1 at this point. You could argue that converting any one of the several chances they had in the 75th or 76th minute, that they should be up now. Maybe it's 5-1, maybe it's 6-1, who knows? But what we do know, Philly, is that the really, really good teams, what separates the wheat from the chaff, is that they don't miss as many opportunities as LAFC has missed 76 minutes into this match.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, we did have that golden opportunity. And you mentioned earlier, and this is why I disagreed with you about Mario disappearing. He was the one that fed Fufu Krastev that brilliant pass. It just so happened that Andrada was there to poke things away. And then Gonzalez had another attempt, but Andrada made another hell of a save on El Pistolero, preventing him from finding the netting. And then Bogusz has another shot, but that you can't really say that was at all a danger. There was no malice behind that shot. So Monterrey got really lucky that we didn't score there. But I mean, the momentum, the ride, it's all starting to shift by way of towards Rayados. And then, yeah, that 76th minute, we still had some very nice ball movement coming off of stellar defending by Giorgio Chiellini. Mate to Denis, challenging Medina, cuts in the middle of the box with Govia by him. He gets a shot off, but Andrada made the save. And then Moreno cleared it, got it to Gallardo, and boom, another close call yet again for Monterrey. So we started knocking on that door heavy, but you start making great defensive plays like that as a keeper and as a backline. That's going to add a little more confidence and a little bit more swag to your strut. So, dang, we should have converted there. And, yeah, I mean, we could have put this game to sleep multiple times. And as we all know, with this game being a matter of moments, we just were unlucky in converting during the times that we had. But we were threatening. We certainly were not not threatening. So I guess we have that going for us.
We were not threatening. I like it. We were not.
No, we were threatening. It was better than maybe I messed up in what I was saying. We were threatening. It's better than not threatening. I don't know. Whatever. Go on.
6% of the time it works every time. Look, I thought Kellen was going to get that second yellow for sure in the 77th minute. That foul on the side of the box.
So lucky he was outside of the box too.
I'm watching it going, how is Kellen Acosta still in this match? Thank you to the ref. This is me saying something nice to the referee. Thank you for not throwing Kellen Acosta out at that point with a second yellow. Great defense on the set piece that came from the foul by Kellen, and you got to thinking, okay, LAFC can start to defend these set pieces. We know what we're doing. Things are going really well. Sub, though, as Victor Guzman comes in for Eric Aguirre for Monterrey. And the experiment lasted, about 78 minutes or so for Mario Gonzalez. And he comes out for Nate the Great. And as Nate is running onto the pitch, he unfortunately had to witness his plus minus would not be helped. Let's put it that way. For all you hockey fans out there, Nate subs on, and his plus minus affected very quickly, huh, Philly?
You're not wrong, man. Another sub comes in the game for Monterrey, making a difference. 79th minute, corner for Rayados. Ball comes off of, I believe it's Moreno's header, and it's Victor Guzman just coming into the game. He happens to get just slightly ahead of Sergi Palencia, and he gets a little bit of his boot on it, but by no means is it going in the direction of the net. And unfortunately, just lightly tapped off of the right boot of Sergi Palencia, and it goes by J-Mac. And, Sergi knew it. He blew it. He crumbled on the pitch. Look, it wasn't his fault. It was just the angle of it. But still, Guzman made that play, and had he not made that play and even gotten ahead of Sergi Palencia, we're not talking about anything. And he was erroneously credited as having scored that goal, but then things shifted themselves, and then Sergi Palencia was credited with an own goal. But here again, another example of fantastic personnel and game management by Fernando Ortiz. Second sub comes into the game, second goal of the game. Just unfortunate, and now we're tied.
Fresh legs, man. Victor Guzman had those fresh legs, and I think that's what really helped. Look, 82nd minute, Denis Bouanga just reminds everybody he needs no space at all in order to get off an absolute banger. A great save by Monterrey, out for a corner. Mati's corner was headed out for a throw, and nothing came from that. So you start to see Rayados getting a lot more comfortable at defending our set pieces. And on the attack in the 83rd minute, there's Ali Avila again banging one off of Giorgio Chiellini for a corner. It was a good ball, and I wrote this in my notes, LAFC kind of playing on tilt right now, needed to settle things down. They did get a set piece in the 86th to try and push some air out of the ball for a little bit. And that was when they announced the attendance. And I want to say this. I know the Rose Bowl seats holds 80-something thousand people there. The Rose Bowl, a massive venue. I'm surprised at the number. Most of the time, when I see in-stadium numbers, I think they've been inflated, right? It's always tickets sold or tickets out or whatever they like to use for it, right?
89,702 is max capacity.
What is it, 89,702?
Yeah.
All right. 15,649. I just felt like there were more. Maybe I don't know. Look,
at least 3,000 or 4,000 of those were Monterrey fans, at least. Which means we brought nobody other than the 3252, the team, and a spattering of people in club sections.
Well, no, look, on that opposite side, look, guys, just spoiler alert, if you weren't there, they only put people on the side that the camera would be facing. So there was nobody else in the stadium other than the 3252, which was there in the south end. I believe that's the south.
Yeah, that would be the south end.
But I thought there were, I'm just saying, we don't need to discuss it too much longer, but I just thought there were more than 15,649 people.
Yeah, it was, I did too. I mean, I was thinking along the lines of 2025, but 15,000, not a lot of people seem to have cared about this match. And I don't understand why. And I'm not going to sit here and point fingers and play the blame game. And, oh, you guys weren't there to support your club. I'm more surprised that y'all want to come out to see a good team like Rayados. I mean, this is a team with a lot of talent. Look, I've been kissing their rear end this entire pod and the last pod, but this really is one of the better teams we've played. It's not freaking Minnesota United or FC Dallas or the Houston Orange Crush Fantas. Those are teams we see all the time. Quite honestly, when I see them on my schedule, our schedule, I'd rather, it's boring to me. Rayados is exciting, appealing. I'm just surprised that not more people came out to this game, because they would have been, it's a disappointing game, but they would have been in for a real treat seeing one of the top teams in another country.
Yeah, speaking of disappointing, 89th minute, I feel bad for Nate. Nate's done a lot of great things for LAFC over the course of these last bunch of games. But off of a turnover by Nathan Ordaz, Monterrey countered very, very, very quickly. And getting the ball all the way across goal was so key for this. The shot really kind of put J-Mac in a tough spot. He has to use like a one-handed punch away. And as he does, it lands right to the feet or bounces back to Rogelio Funes Mori. And kind of a tough angle. I give him props, right? J-Mac had his hands up. He was kind of falling out of bounds as he did it. But look, there's a reason why he is the leading scorer all time in Rayado's history. And he comes through in the clutch. And you better believe if Monterrey winds up winning this whole damn thing and going to CONCACAF Champions Cup, they are going to talk about this goal by Rogelio Funes Mori from a relatively difficult angle-ish, right before stoppage time, as maybe one of the key goals in Monterrey for this entire season.
It was a gorgeous goal. And still, though, it came by way of a non-starter. It was Cortizo who had that shot that J-Mac saved that just so happened to get in front of Funes Mori. So every single goal, a sub had played some kind of role. First goal, Ali Avila, his first moments in his first touch attracts the penalty on Callan. Boom, Canales gets the first goal of the game. Second, Victor Guzman, just subbing into the game, hits one, deflects off of Sergi Palencia for the second goal. And Cortizo, well, it wasn't as quick for him. At this point, he was 30 minutes into the game, but, I mean, he had a heck of a move, a heck of a run, and a hell of a shot. If J-Mac didn't get that stretch out, that was a goal. Without a doubt, that was a goal. Made a heck of a save, but there was nobody there to clear it. And I think it was Palencia that was on Funes Mori. But, yeah, tough shot, tough angle, brilliant goal. And, you know, we let in 3 goals, 3 unanswered goals, in particular, like towards the death. Early on, I predicted that we would go 2-2 and we'd win in PKs. I was close to being a fortune teller. Yep. I can't believe we blew this game, and that's why I'm just really bummed and disappointed. They were a better team in a lot of ways,
yeah,
but we didn't do ourselves any favors either. We should not have lost this game.
And I have to think that maybe, you know, Palencia being so tired and not having played much for this club in quite some time.
We gotta buy. Like Monterrey had so many other games.
Hold on.
I don't buy this tired rhetoric BS.
He's coming off of injury. And yes, I know he's had plenty of time, but not having Chiqui Palacios out there thrust Sergi Palencia into a role of much larger responsibility than I would like to see him have over the course of 90 plus minutes. I am fine with Sergi Palencia if Chiqui needs a break and has to come out in the 85th minute because he's absolutely gassed and he's done all those cheeky things that Chiqui has done for the entire Chiqui season, then I'm good with that. But the responsibility that was thrust upon Sergi Palencia, not only as the starter, he's been very, very good for us when we've needed quality minutes. But what I'm saying is, against a caliber of a team as Monterrey, against the caliber of a player as Rogelio Funes Mori, I think that what we asked of Sergi Palencia was an awful lot over the course of the entire 90 minutes to have led to that play. That's all I'm saying. The celebration.
That's his job, man. Next up. Like, that's what all these players train to do. I don't know. Like, I hear what you're saying.
I agree.
But, like, no, they're professional athletes that have had a break. If anything, I would have felt more sympathetic towards a team that would have started from the beginning of the group stages and gone into now. Bad travel experiences, getting stuck in airports. I would have sympathy for that. But this is our third game and not that much time. We should be more than well-conditioned to tackle this kind of scenario.
It's not a matter of conditioning. It's Sergi Palencia having been hurt for most of the season up until this point. So we just don't know where he's at, and maybe asking him to go this long and this far, unfortunately, kind of came back to bite us a little bit. That being said, the line change and the formation change that we throw out there. So the celebration lasted until the 2nd minute of stoppage, basically. And the referee on the electronic board held up a 9, but it wound up going a lot longer than that, actually, because of the celebration and everything else. And what we do at the, 2nd, 3rd minute or so of stoppage is we get Timothy Tillman, Jesus David Murillo, and Mamadou Fall in for Ilie, Mati Bogusz, and Kellen Acosta. Now, I don't know that I would have taken Mati out, although he had been quiet for a little bit. But Ilie, Kellen, sure, especially Kellen on the yellow, I get it. But what we did afterwards was very, very interesting. I want to reiterate. Our back line at that point then, our back line consisted of Giorgio Chiellini and Jesus David Murillo, along with Ryan Hollingshead and Sergi Palencia. No surprises there. And then we played literally 5 men up top for the most part. And it's who those 5 were that were a little confusing. It's not confusing if Nate, if Fufu, and Denis Bouanga are up top. But Mamadou Fall and Aaron Long essentially playing forward roles the entire time. I get it, right? You have Mamadou Fall there because Air Senegal is still Air Senegal. But Aaron Long playing up top was real interesting. But clearly, Philly, what Steve Trundolo is doing is he is now throwing the entire arsenal, emptying the cupboards, and leaving it all out there, throwing everybody forward.
Yeah, I mean, you have to at this point. I mean, the air's taken out of our sails. The time is of the essence. You got to do it. And I mean, if we would have conceded another goal, I mean, would it have mattered at that point? No. You got to gamble. You got to do your thing. I mean, at some point towards the end of stoppage, you had John McCarthy that was up there needing to be there, and he would have had Fall and Long in there, mainly because of exactly what you said. You get a long ball into the box. You would hope that either one of those guys would sky above any of the Monterrey players and get fortunate enough to head one in the back of the net. It didn't happen. I mean, we didn't have very many good opportunities in that sense. I mean, there was one, and I think I stopped taking notes at this point, but I forgot who took the awful corner at the absolute death. I mean,
that would be
our last chance. Like, who was that? I totally forgot.
Look, I love the guy, but Timothy Tillman, that was
that's right.
Awful. I mean, look, Max Bretos, we could hear Max Bretos being pumped through the press box. And I forget the word that Max used. It might have been horrendous. It might have been terrible, whatever it was. But Max was the bus driver on throwing Timothy Tillman under the bus on that one. Talk about when you absolutely need a set piece. Well, we've got no Mati Bogusz back out there. We have no Kellen Acosta back out there. And obviously no Carlos Vela out there. So we're on our 4th string set piece taker at best. And it's Timothy Tillman. It was absolute dog water on that. The final play of the match is pretty much that awful corner. And that's it. League's Cup run is done, Philly. August 20th at BMO against the Colorado Rapids. So now we've earned ourselves, by not playing very well, 9 days off before our next match.
I mean, I'm not happy about that. I mean, I'm not even going to look at any kind of like silver lining. Like, I don't give a hoot if we lose to LAFC 2. Like, losing pisses me off, especially with the kind of team that we have. This was a perfect opportunity for us to show this entire region that we're for real and that MLS is for real. And I get it. Monterrey is a great team. I've said it 100 times again. I'm sick of freaking hearing me say it. But it guts me that we lost this game in the manner that we did. Let me paint the picture for you with the stats. 3-2 was the final score. We concede 3 second-half goals, which leads to our demise. They had 20 shots. We had 14. They had 8 on target. We had 7. They had 5 corners to our 3. We were the naughty boys with 14 fouls to their 10. They had 4 yellow cards. But the possession, 70%. Here's the wild thing. They had 530 accurate passes to our 176. That is nuts. Yes, we were efficient in the times that we had it, but they really maintained possession. Yeah. I mean, 530 accurate passes to 176. This is how it operates in reverse. It's usually us along these lines, not the other team. And, Mesa, despite the fact that he didn't score, had 6 shots. He had more shots than anybody from either team. Denny had 4, and Mario Gonzalez, 3. But, the accurate passing from players like Govia and Moreno and Medina, like they tore us up, man, and they converted on their opportunities, and their subs played a splendid game because they're the ones that made the difference. Not so much the starters, but the subs made the difference. And at that point, you have to say that Fernando Ortiz should be credited. And I don't want to say that he outcoached Steve, but one could argue that, hey, he just put the right pieces in at the right time and it benefited his team. But sickens me that we lost to another Monterrey team when we were leading going towards the end. It happened in 2020. We were up on Tigres 1-0. And then, we blew that towards the end. Thank you on Gignac. And here we are in the quarterfinals of the League's Cup, having scored 2 goals. 2 goals, the opportunity to score a few more, and we blow it. But there are reasons, and officiating can honestly be contributed to one of the reasons. But that sounds salty, and it sounds like I'm making an excuse. We lost to a better team, and that's it.
We did, and I think, my personal opinion, the reason why we lost isn't because they did anything all that different from the first half to the second half. I think Rayados just stayed on course. They kept doing what they did well in the first half, knowing that if they could complete, like you said, 500 plus passes, if they could do so with accuracy, if they could be a little bit more clinical on their set pieces, which they were, if they could be a little bit more clinical on their attacking balls into the box and counters, which they were, then everything would fall into place. They just didn't panic down 2-0. And I think the way we played after them scoring the 1 goal and making it 2-1 was we played a little bit more on our back heel. And with a player like Kellen Acosta on a yellow, he has to change the way he defends the middle of the park, the most important real estate at the Rose Bowl. And so I think you had a team like Rayados who just stayed the course. They just kept on trucking. And unfortunately, over the course of 90 minutes, I don't care, health-wise, injury-wise, anything else, I think they imposed their will on the game and on us as the game went farther and farther along. 71% possession in the first half, 70% possession, basically a little closer to 69% giggity possession in the second half. But it all comes down to them staying the course. And look, you don't want to mention it, or you don't want to use it as an excuse, but I do think the officiating was pretty terrible tonight. And I think it could have cost us 2 or 3 opportunities. That being said, I think anybody who watched that match felt like the better team was moving on.
Steve, in his press conference, said, and I quote, officials were a disaster, misusing VAR, all around disaster, end quote. He's not wrong. And he clearly iterated that a clear and obvious foul on Denny did not get called, and a not so clear and obvious call on Kellen was called. And that's the difference. It really is. But look, we needed to convert our opportunities. I say time and time again, you never want to leave the match in the hands of the officials. We could have blown the doors out of this game like early on in the beginning of the second half, but we didn't, and we lost to a team that has championship pedigree. Yeah, we've won Major League Soccer last season. Yeah, we won the Supporters Shield, but we got a pretty young, fresh crop of kids that are still. No, forget that. They've acclimated. There's no more excuses for that.
Right.
This is a team that's a lot more experienced in Monterrey, a lot more experienced, a lot more mature, a lot more physical. They know how to win, and a championship team finds the ability to come back from being down and win a game. And quite honestly, as far as I'm concerned, this team should win the League's Cup. If they win the League's Cup, I don't think I'll be as upset about losing in the match today. If they happen to lose to Nashville or anybody else, then I'm going to be a little perturbed. But I do think Monterrey is the best team. in this competition, at least on this side of the bracket, because obviously we got the old timer Barcelona team on the other side that other teams got to worry about. Unfortunately, it's not going to be us that have to worry. It sucks.
Yeah, look, I think Nashville is going to give them hell. I think that back line, led up obviously by Walker, it's going to be a lot of fun to see what they're able to do. Nashville putting up a 4 spot on Minnesota today, so you have Nashville.
Oh, it's a 5 spot.
Oh yeah, you're right. Nashville was the
Miami
5 spot.
that did the 4.
Miami did the 4 spot. Nashville with the 5 spot. It'll be Nashville against Monterrey on the one side of the bracket. On the other side of the bracket, just like they drew it up, Inter Miami. And look, I think it's going to be rough because Jim Curtin is going to have that Philadelphia squad absolutely ready to roll against Miami. They got an 11th minute stoppage time goal from Chris Donovan did Philadelphia to get into the semifinals. So they are riding an absolute wave. And I think the Messi machine might be breaking down one game early before he gets to the finals. I do think the final will be Philadelphia and Monterrey. And I think that'll give Philadelphia plenty to play for. It's going to be a lot of fun. If they see their best that Philadelphia has to offer, I think Philadelphia can win League's Cup. But if Philadelphia just plays
the city of brotherly L's, no way.
Yeah, I'm just saying, don't sleep on Philadelphia. Especially if they get past Messi, they're going to want to finish the job and do the whole thing. But I do think I'm going to call it. I think Philadelphia is going to be your champion of the first League's Cup.
Gross. Nope. Can't agree with you. I will say though that this Philadelphia team is the best team that Inter Miami will have faced with this new roster. So,
absolutely.
This is going to be a walk in the park. I mean, honestly, who do they play? Like Charlotte, FC Dallas, Atlanta United, This is going to be Miami's toughest opponent
for sure
right now. So it'll be an entertaining match, and I do want to see Messi leapfrog over Philadelphia, because as a New Yorker, I can't root for anything out of the city of brother L's.
I hear
you.
I
want Monterrey to win. You heard it right here. I want them to win.
All right. Well, another tough opponent has been the clock. It is 3:04, almost 3:05 in the morning.
Oh.
We gotta add different sounds to the board. We gotta.
I gotta figure. We gotta have producer Panda figure that one out.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll see how that goes. All right. It's 3:05, and you guys know how we like to end every single one of our episodes. We'll see you guys on the 20th at BMO. Bye-bye. Bye.